Valentine's Day 2026 is shaping up to be a very interesting day because the very date of Valentine's Day, Saturn enters the sign of Aries. So the planet of discipline goes into the sign of me first. Obviously, that comes with its own set of challenges, but at the same time, it could also be an amazing opportunity to deepen your relationships, take them to the next level, and build something that is solid, lasting, and will take you through some very, very happy years ahead. In this video, we're going to break down what some potential pitfalls are that could kind of put a dampener on your Valentine's Day. And I'll also give you some great date ideas, whether that's with your loved one, with your best friend, or just with yourself, depending on your Mars and Venus signs. So let's dive in. So Saturn enters Aries for good this time on the 14th of February. Depending on your time zone, it might be the evening before, but either way, we are all going to feel the shift exactly on Valentine's Day. And that means that if there's an area of your life where you've been kind of coasting and getting away with things, that might change on Valentine's Day and shortly beyond that. And nothing really kills romance more than being blindsided by some kind of harsh reality check. So I'm going to break it down by each rising sign. Very important, you need to know your ascendant or your rising sign and tell you which area of your life you really need to get your things in order so that you don't have any unpleasant surprises that might rain on your parade come Valentine's Day, regardless of what your plans are, whether you've planned a big date, whether you're just staying at home and being cozy and showing love to yourself. Because we want you to be able to focus on the message of Valentine's Day, which is love. Love for others, love for yourself, being able to give and receive love. And we don't need any harsh lessons to get into the way of that. And although we are talking about Valentine's Day in this video, Saturn is going to be in the sign of Aries for about 2 years. So this is only the beginning. These lessons, they might show up for you for the next 2 years. And we really want to make sure that all of our stuff is in order, because Saturn also rewards where we've been disciplined, where we've been diligent, where we've been responsible. But if we've been kind of, getting away with things that we know we shouldn't really be doing, as soon as Saturn moves into Aries, that area of your life, you're just not going to be getting away with things anymore. So let's break it down by rising sign. If you're an Aries rising, things to get in order is everything related to your appearance and the way that you present yourself. So for example, make sure that your clothes are clean and in working order. Otherwise, you might be very disappointed on Valentine's Day or any other occasions that are coming up in the next 2 years when you're trying to get changed into your outfit and all of a sudden you notice there's tears, there's rips, or there's stains that you haven't taken care of. On a deeper level, Saturn in Aries will also bring a focus on being disciplined and being responsible around the way that you present yourself, around the way that you meet and greet people, but also very importantly about the way that you treat yourself. If you're a Taurus rising, for the next 2 years, make sure that your sleep is in order. Sleep hygiene is going to be a very important focus point for you in the next 2 years. Also, if you've been neglecting anything around your mental health, this is really the time to, pick up the practices again. Maybe try some therapy, maybe do the things that you know are good for your mental health. And also, if you have been getting any kind of signs from the universe nudging you towards a certain direction or away from another one, pay attention to those. If you're a Gemini rising, Saturn is entering your house of groups, friendships, and organizations. Maybe there are certain friends that you've fallen out of touch with. It might be the time to reconnect with them. Maybe there are certain responsibilities that you've taken on within organizations or within your community that have sort of fallen by the wayside. Make sure that those are in order. If you're a Cancer rising, Saturn is now entering your house of career and reputation. So if within your workspace, if you've been doing things, letting things slide by the wayside, kind of getting away with not doing your job properly, pay close attention, because there might be some harsh Saturn lessons coming if you don't get those things in order. If you're a Leo rising, if you are in higher education, if you're at university, for example, this should be a prime focus point. Don't let things slide when it comes to that. But also anything related to travel, for example, foreign paperwork. If you're planning to travel, make sure that your visas are in order. Make sure that you've got all your vaccinations and all of your paperwork sorted out. Otherwise, there might be some issues further down the line. If you're Virgo rising, Saturn is moving into your house of shared resources, sex and intimacy. So if you've been, kind of coasting along, not enjoying intimacy, not enjoying sex, and not saying anything about it, then Saturn might kind of force you to reevaluate your issue. Likewise, if you are in any debt, if you have any shared bank accounts, any inheritances that need dealing with, deal with those. If anything sparked a kind of, oh, there's something that I haven't taken care of, now is the time to take care of that before Saturn steps in and forces you to. If you're a Libra rising, very, very particularly important for Valentine's Day, because the potential for conflict is so high. Saturn moves into your house of relationships. And if you've been secretly resentful about something in your romantic relationship, if you've been hiding anything from your romantic partner, get those things sorted out. Have that honest conversation, have the vulnerability and discuss things with your partner before they find out from somebody else and before things start taking on a nature of their own. If you're a Scorpio rising, take care of anything that you've let fall by the wayside in terms of your daily habits, but very importantly also because of your health. So have you been scheduling your doctor's checkups, your dental work, your dental cleaning and checkups, your optometrist checkups, any other appointments that you've got? Have you got your medication in order? Anything related to your health, which also includes your daily healthy habits, maybe your nutrition has fallen by the wayside, or you've kind of fallen off the exercise that you were doing. Now is the time to really get those things back in order. If you're a Sagittarius rising, if you have children, anything that you've been kind of coasting on related to your children now really needs looking at, now really needs sorting out. If you don't have children, have a think about any creative pursuits. Maybe you have some unfinished paintings laying somewhere in a corner. Maybe you have an instrument that you bought and that is gathering dust in the garage. Maybe you have some passion projects that you started and haven't really picked up in a couple of weeks or even months. Now is the time to pick those back up again. If you're a Capricorn rising, it's time to make sure that your home is in order. So anything that needs a repair, any kind of little leaks or little issues around the home, any bills that might be unpaid, unopened mail that's been left on the side, make sure you take care of those now, but also in general in the next 2 years. If you're an Aquarius rising, it's time to become more disciplined about the way that you communicate with people and also the way you think. So if you've been going down any negative thought spirals, for example, if there are things that send you down a negative spiral, but you've kind of been getting away with it for the last couple of years, now is the time to be really disciplined with that and avoid anything that is going to send you down into a rabbit hole. Likewise, this is also the house of transport. So, any flashing lights on your car, any maintenance on your car or your motorbike or whatever mode of transport you use, any public transport passes that are running out, make sure that those are taken care of. And if you're a Pisces rising, Saturn is moving into your house of money and finances. So if you don't have a budget, it's time to have a budget. If you've had a budget but you've just not been sticking to it, it's time to stick to your budget and be more realistic about the way that you both make and spend your money. And now all of these This might sound quite negative when we talk about the things that we need to get in order, but Saturn doesn't just punish where we haven't been responsible. Saturn, for one, also rewards where we've been showing up, where we've been grown up, mature, responsible adults taking care of our life. So there is also a huge potential for reward. Saturn is also very fair, and it is the planet of karma. So it also means that in that area, if somebody tries to unfairly mess with you, Saturn will take care of that. Saturn will make sure that karma returns what has been given out. So there is also a sense of protection. Any difficult lessons that come from Saturn are self-earned and self-caused. Saturn will not let other people interfere in that. So now that we've taken care of that, it's time to move on to some fun ways to celebrate Valentine's Day and beyond. On Valentine's Day, Mercury and Venus are already in Pisces, and that means that our minds and our hearts are already somewhere else. They are somewhere in a dreamy world of fantasies, which really is the perfect setting for romance. Again, whether that is with a loved one or with yourself, because you know what, you deserve to romance yourself as well, regardless of if you're coupled up, single, or going through some rough relationship times. And if you're stuck for ideas on what to do for Valentine's Day, then I want you to look at your Venus sign and your Mars sign. And I'm going to give you a couple of examples depending on what element both of these fall in. What we want to look at is basically your Venus sign is the overall vibe that we want to create for our Valentine's date. And our Mars sign is the activity that is going to be best. And sometimes you may find that your Mars and Venus are seemingly at odds with your partner's Mars and Venus. That's totally fine. You can mix it up. You can do several things. It's a long day, Valentine's Day. You have the time and you have the opportunity to do several things. But if you find that there is overlap, then that's where you really want to drill in. So for Venus or Mars in a fire sign, in Aries, Leo, or Sagittarius, my recommendation is to plan a date that is high in activity. There needs to be some action on this date. So that could be something like an escape room, like a dance class together, or maybe just a spontaneous road trip, but you want to be physically active with your bodies during this date in one way or another. The pitfall with Venus or Mars in a fire sign can be that it can sometimes be all action and no follow through. So make sure that you don't just leave it at this date. Plan a follow-up, something to do afterwards as well. Maybe take some pictures or record some videos so that you can remind yourselves of the fun that you had. If you have Venus or Mars in an earth sign, so Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn, then it's all about the sensory indulgence. That can be a spa day, an at-home massage, going to an art gallery and having a delicious meal, or even just a coffee together afterwards. The one pitfall with Mars or Venus in an earth sign is that it can be very practical. And we don't want to get just practicality into the way of romance. So do leave some room for spontaneity as well. If you have Venus or Mars in an air sign, so Gemini, Libra, or Aquarius, then it's all about intellectual stimulation. You're not going to be very well served being in a really loud, crowded place where you can't talk and can't hear each other. Think things like a game night, like a board game night, going to the museum together, or anything that facilitates deep conversation. For example, there's some conversation cards that you can buy online. That's a great way for you to spend that day together. The pitfall with Venus or Mars in an air sign can be that it's very intellectual and very theoretical. So talk about your future together, rather than just general abstract ideas. Bring it back into the personal. And finally, if you have Mars or Venus in a water sign, so Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces, then it's all about sharing emotional intimacy together. Something like stargazing, going to a concert because music really facilitates that kind of shared experience, having a romantic bath together, And the one thing to watch out for with these placements is because Venus is already in Pisces, it can tempt this kind of tendency towards self-sacrifice. So you want to make sure that it is very give and take and that the day is balanced rather than everything falling on the shoulders of just one person who's then overburdened. So Valentine's Day 2026 has a very uniquely serious tone about it, but there is also some fantastic potential to create the relationship that you want to stay in for the long term, or to build a foundation, or to build the solidity and the resilience of your relationships even further, whether that's your relationship to someone else or your relationship with yourself. If you're curious about the way that Saturn in Aries and Neptune in Aries is going to show up for you in the next coming years, in exactly how that is going to play out in your life and what to expect, you can book a one-on-one consultation with me where we can look at that in detail related to your personal chart. And if you're not subscribed, make sure that you subscribe to my free Manifestology newsletter. There will be some powerful Pisces rituals and manifestation techniques tailored to the exact astrology of the moment, which you can get for free following the link in the description bar below. So happy Valentine's, everyone. Let's make sure we make it powerful and romantic.